Welcome to the Daily O. I'm Grayson Singleton. Coming up on this episode of the Daily O, 3 major games in the Big 12 this weekend with 2 powerhouses going down. Stillwater High is off to a strong start in its football season, and we will continue to update you on the developments in the ever-changing Brett Favre situation. That and more on this edition of the Daily O. Happy Monday, everybody, and welcome to a new week of the Daily O. I'm Grayson Singleton. Thanks for joining us. Last Friday, Cowboy basketball released their entire schedule for the upcoming season, and this morning, Cowgirl basketball followed suit. The Cowgirls will open up their in-conference schedule on New Year's Eve as the Jayhawks travel down to Stillwater. Other notable home matchups include Texas at home on January 7th, Baylor on February 11th, and then Bedlam basketball on March 4th. Cowgirl soccer returned from Kansas after 2 wins to open conference play. OSU defeated the Jayhawks 2-0 before knocking off the Kansas State Wildcats 1-0 behind a Grace Beinbutel goal. The Cowgirls are now 9-1-1 on the season, and their next match will be Thursday against Texas Tech. Kickoff for that match is set for 7 p.m. here at Neil Patterson Stadium. While Cowboy football had their bye week last weekend, that doesn't mean former OSU athletes weren't performing throughout the NFL. Taking a look into our Pro Pokes notable standouts, running back Justice Hill of the Baltimore Ravens recorded 6 carries for 60 yards in a win against the New England Patriots. Lions standout rookie linebacker Malcolm Rodriguez had another stellar performance against the Minnesota Vikings, tallying 8 total tackles, and Bengals defensive back Trey Flowers made an impact in the Bengals secondary, recovering a fumble as Cincinnati would get its first win of the season against the New York Jets. One other notable standout comes from former OSU tight end Jelani Woods. Woods recorded his first 2 receptions of his NFL career, and as it would be, they were both receiving touchdowns. In more national news, while the Daily O has kept you informed regarding the ongoing investigation into former NFL quarterback Brett Favre, new details in the scandal have emerged involving the misuse of welfare funds to build a volleyball facility in Mississippi. Text messages reveal that Favre kept pushing for the money even after being warned it was potentially illegal. CNN's Diana Gallagher reports.
A new bombshell court filing puts former NFL quarterback Brett Favre under further scrutiny. In it, lawyers for former Mississippi Governor Phil Bryant write that Favre continued working to obtain funds for a multi-million-dollar volleyball center at his alma mater, the University of Southern Mississippi, where his daughter played the sport at the time, despite being told that it could possibly be an illegal use of state funds. The funds for this project were part of a broader state audit that found $77 million of federal welfare grant funds meant for the temporary assistance for needy family programs in Mississippi were used instead to help fund projects desired by the politically connected and celebrities, including Favre. In the filing, an attorney for Bryant produced text messages between his client and Favre, arguing that Bryant pushed back on Favre's request for funding. In July 2019, Bryant texted Favre, "Use of these funds is tightly controlled. Any improper use could result in violation of federal law. Auditors are currently reviewing the use of these funds by Family First. As soon as the audit is complete, we will know if the project at USM is a proper expenditure." Favre continued to press the governor in September, writing, "We obviously need your help big time, and time is working against us. And we feel that your name is the perfect choice for this facility, and we are not taking no for an answer. You are a Southern Miss alum, and folks need to know that you are a supporter of the university." Bryant responded, "We are going to get there. This was a great meeting, but we have to follow the law. I am too old for federal prison." According to investigators, more than $4 million was used to build Favre's desired volleyball center, and according to the new filing, Favre also tried to secure additional funds for an indoor football arena he hoped would attract better recruits. The State Department of Human Services, led by then-Director John Davis, gave more than $98 million to two nonprofits, according to the state audit. $94 million of that money was either misspent or possibly illegally spent. One of the two nonprofits, the Mississippi Community Education Center, run at the time by Nancy New, paid Favre over $1 million for speaking engagements he did not attend, according to the auditor. Favre repaid the state that money, but did not repay the interest owed on the funds, according to the auditor.
Mr. Davis, as it relates to count one, conspiracy, how do you plead guilty or not guilty?
Guilty.
Davis pleaded guilty to federal charges, including 1 count of conspiracy and 1 count of theft, as well as 18 state charges last week. Nancy New and her son were convicted in April for their roles in the scheme. Favre has not been criminally charged, but he is a defendant in a civil suit. His attorney claims he did not know where the funds came from.
Brett, it couldn't have been more honorable in any of it. He had no idea where.
All right, let's take a quick break. But when we return, Zach Berger from Pioneer Media will join me to discuss the Stillwater High Pioneers' hot start to their football season. Don't go anywhere. The Daily O will be right back.
Our state is one of the most beautiful and unique states in the USA. With diverse geographies, the historic Route 66, unforgettable restaurants, and some of the greatest people on the planet. With so much to see and so much to do, living in Oklahoma means one of the best vacation spots is right in our own backyard. Doesn't this story need to be told? As filmmakers and photographers based right here in Oklahoma, we thought so. And hey, who doesn't like a good road trip? So, we packed up our cameras, teamed up with Lieutenant Governor Matt Pinnell and the Oklahoma Tourism and Recreation Department, and that's how this series was born. We want to show you why traveling within the great state of Oklahoma is a great idea. So come join us for thousands of miles over the next year, from Broken Bow to Black Mesa. This is the Oklahoma Road Trip.
Pecans are staple to Oklahoma. In fact, many of our native pecans come from trees that are older than Oklahoma statehood.
My father's the one that got us started into the pecan picking. I was probably 10 or 12 years old, and we started off with one little mechanical picker that you pulled behind a four-wheeler. Then we'd go home at night and we'd clean them on a TV tray. I guess watching my dad work hard when we were young, and people started trusting him and getting more and more groves, we just kept growing.
Being a relatively new and fresh company, we get to sit in the same room with people who have been a part of the Oklahoma economy for decades.
It's opened a lot of doors. It's gave us quite a bit of exposure, and I think people, will take a small company like us a little more serious. We're just going to continue growing as long as our community lets us and our customers keep on buying, and we'll see where it takes us.
Tucked away in the city of Ripley, Oklahoma, the award-winning Washington Irving Trail Museum showcases the heritage and history of Payne County. This museum holds antiques, treasures, and artifacts that one cannot find at any other museum. With hundreds of historical antiques that display OSU history, along with Native American history, the museum has it all. The museum is well known for their book containing pictures and news articles about Frank Eaton, the original Pistol Pete. Dale Kluber opened Washington Irving Trail Museum in 1994 with his collection of historical mementos. This museum is filled from wall to wall with Oklahoman history. The Washington Irving Trail Museum is 15 minutes outside of Stillwater. Experience history at one of Oklahoma's hidden gems.
Welcome back to this Monday edition and a fresh new week of the Daily O. I'm Grayson Singleton. The Stillwater High football team is riding high after an 85-0, yeah, you heard that right, 85-0 win over Ulysses S. Grant on homecoming night on Friday. They are now 4-0 to begin their season, as well as 1-0 in their district. Joining me now is Pioneer Media reporter for Stillwater High, Zach Berger. My guy, how you doing?
I'm doing good. How about yourself?
I'm doing well, thank you. First of all, 85-0. What happened at the stadium that night?
juices are flowing. It's homecoming night, first district game, and the Pioneers just came out, did what they're supposed to do, and took care of business.
Yeah, so you've got we know about the blowout. We know that that two of their games have been very lopsided, but they've also won two very competitive games. You know, you had the game against Greenwood, the team that they went to go play at Arkansas, and then you had the game against Norman. Talk to me and just elaborate on how this team not only can take care of business against teams they should, but also can take out those tougher teams as well.
Yeah, you know, with those situations, it really comes down to those key players. I feel like they're a base team that's good at taking care of business, like you said, but when you have guys like Gage Gundy, their quarterback, and a great coaching staff with Coach Barnard, they can really go down to the wire and take care of business and make those big plays with big players.
So what are some of those things that this team is doing just exceptionally well right now?
Yeah, you know, there's two sides of the ball, offense, defense. Defensively, you just have guys stepping up, making plays. They have 6 interceptions in 4 games. They have like 19 tackle for losses. They're stepping up, stopping the run play, and really shutting down other offenses. But for them on offense, you have 3 really key pieces that are just shining every day. First, we have Gage Gundy. I mean, he's a senior, he's a Gundy, right? He has that legacy, and he shows out every single game. 737 yards, 51 for 78, and 6 touchdowns. He's just dominating for this offense. And then you throw in guys like Noah Roberts. Noah Roberts, small but fast and just a grinding running back. He's averaging 100 yards every single game. He has 514 yards, 80 carries, and 11 touchdowns. And then to add into that, you have a 3 wide receiver core of Heston Thompson, Talon Kendrick, and Julius Talley with jet sweeps and deep passes all over the field.
So you mentioned all of those weapons that Gage Gundy has to his disposal. Let's go back to Gage for a second, because we know the Gundy legacy. You know, we've got Gunner already is on the Oklahoma State football team. What are some of those traits that make Gage a special quarterback?
Yeah, and you know, I got to talk with Coach Barnard about this last weekend, and he just said it's one of those things of seniority and stepping up, knowing, listen, I'm the quarterback, I'm the leader, and I might be the face of this program. And so being able to stay calm, composed under pressure. 2 weeks ago, they played Norman. They were down by a touchdown going into a 2-minute drill in the 4th quarter. He stayed calm, composed, found his receivers, and made a game-winning drive to win that game 36-33. I think it's just that ability to be the leader and know that, listen, this is my offense, and I'm not going to let anything affect that.
So now we've talked about Stillwater. You know, 4-0, 1-0 in the district. They're looking like a house on fire right now, which is a compliment, not a tire fire. Who are some of those threats in Oklahoma 6A that could derail this seeming to be magic season that's in the making right now?
Yeah, you know, there's definitely a couple. There's always those teams at the top. I think a very interesting game will be this upcoming week. This will be their first district away game. They're playing Booker T. Washington. I'm very excited to see how they handle that pressure, but I'm just, like Coach Barnard said to me the other week, they're just going to take it day by day, game by game, and see what they can do for themselves.
In your opinion, what game on the schedule are you circling that you're like, this is going to be the litmus test for this Pioneer team?
You know, that's a good question. I think I can't quite remember, but I think it's the final game of the season. Okay. I think leading up to that, they'll be tested, but going into that situation where you need to win to maybe secure the district, I'd be curious to see how they do there.
One last or a couple more things. You mentioned all this talent that's on the team. Update us on are there possible recruits going on? Is somebody getting interested by a Power 5 school? What's going on in that regard for this team?
Yeah, you know, I think guys like Noah Roberts is really shining. I think he should be recruited by a Power 5 team. He's really shining. And other guys like Heston Thompson could be getting looks by these Power 5 teams. I think Gage Gundy currently has one D1 offer, but I'd be curious to see, as this season develops, those key pieces be interested by bigger schools.
What is the ceiling for this team?
You know, it sounds crazy, but the ceiling is undefeated. The ceiling is this team can take it all the way. Listen, they come out here and they show that they could be the best team in Oklahoma, 6A. So I think the ceiling is perfect.
All right, if I was somebody not from Oklahoma, and I told you, what is one special thing about this team that makes you say their ceiling is undefeated? What is that one special thing?
I think that one special thing is one word: depth. I haven't seen a team like this where you can take the ball, go to anyone on the field, and a big play is going to happen, offensively, defensively. The thing that makes them so special are those weapons, but it's not just one or two. It's 3 wide receivers. It's 2 defensive ends, 2 linebackers, all your corners. If I was going to talk about this team to someone who know nothing, I'd say, look at this depth, look at this roster, and it never wavers.
You know, football is becoming more and more of a weapon sport. You see the best teams in the NFL, they're just not one-dimensional or reliant on a single person. There's 3, 4 guys. So that's a very interesting point that you make. Zach Berger from Pioneer Media covers the Stillwater Pioneers football team for us. Thank you to him for joining us. All right, coming up next, we're going to keep up with some Big 12 action because Baylor, Texas, and Oklahoma were all in action on Saturday. Stick with us. The Daily O will be right back.
We would design something, it was set on the counter, and people was either, if enough of them said, you know, this isn't it, it never made to the line. Dad was excited that they're all original. They were all designed on Mom's kitchen table, and it gets in your blood after a while.
We're very happy that Pamela and Michael have taken over the business and kept the family going.
We took the business over in 2017. When we found that it was available, we wanted to keep the legacy of family alive, but it was also incredible products that deserved to be a part of Made in Oklahoma's story. We were a part of Made in Oklahoma years ago, and so it kind of grew as Made in Oklahoma grew.
Oklahoma is ingrained into everything that we did. We've been here most of our life. That's what we entailed our whole business on, was the Oklahoma homegrown feeling.
You may have been to casinos at some point in your life, but do you really know the truth behind the game you're playing?
And the casinos were very polemic or very controversial when they came out. But the truth was, that's all the federal government gave us.
The casino is owned by the Chickasaw Nation and has roughly 600,000 square feet of dedicated gambling space, making it the world's largest casino. It contributed massively to the Chickasaw Nation posting a net revenue of $1.4 billion for the fiscal year of 2017.
Welcome back to this Monday edition and a fresh week of the Daily O. I'm Grayson Singleton. We're going to dive into some Big 12 action because even though Oklahoma State was idle this weekend, there were plenty of teams and plenty of notable matchups to go with this week. All right, let's go ahead. Let's start with Baylor and Iowa State. Baylor going into Jack Trice Stadium looking for their first win at Ames since 2016. We're going to start off Blake Shapen finding Ben Sims rolling out right. Baylor taking the early 7-0 lead. Now, later on in the half, Shapen, this time rolling left, finds Dylan Doyle, his fullback, to put Baylor up 2 scores, 17-7. And it looks like the Bears might be on their way to getting that victory. Hunter Deckers has other plans. He's going to go over the top and find his receiver just before halftime. Iowa State bringing the deficit to 3. Dimitri Stanley on that catch. That's going to be the deficit going into half. And then Baylor. How about the run? Putting the Bears up again by two scores. It was Reese on the carry. Look at him go through 1 and then 2, 3, and then finally 4 Iowa State defenders. Then, in the fourth quarter, to really blow the game open, Chapin, after all the trickery, finding his receiver in the end zone for the deep touchdown. Look at it again. The reverse into the flea flicker. And then there's just nobody within striking distance to stop it. Baylor would hold on for a 31-24 win after Iowa State made it just a little bit interesting. They're going to get that first win in Ames since 2016. All right, let's go to Lubbock now. Look at Raider Red. He's all fired up for this game. Texas is 22nd in the country, taking on Texas Tech. And we're going to start this one off, and it looks like Texas is going to run away with this game because they just took the lead late in the second quarter. Hudson Card to Xavier Worthy, a 39-yard touchdown. Fast forward to the end of the quarter. Texas looking to extend their lead right before the break, and they're going to do it. Bijan Robinson, Heisman candidate from a season ago, one of the Heisman favorites this year, takes it up the gut, 24-17. And then Bijan Robinson, from 40 yards out, gashes the Red Raider defense. He's a special player. Texas Tech had all sorts of trouble tackling him. But then the Red Raiders, not done yet. Donovan Smith finding Baylor Cup for a 19-yard touchdown. This game is tied at 31, 14 unanswered points for the Red Raiders. And then Trey Wolf, a 45-yard field goal late in the quarter, gives the Red Raiders a 3-0 lead. The faithful smelling an upset. But Hudson Card would lead his team down the field, get into field goal range, and then Burt Auburn, a 47-yard field goal attempt, ties the game at the expiration of the clock. We're going to overtime, tied at 34. So Texas would get the ball first, and they give it to that Heisman hopeful Bijan Robinson, but he fumbled the football. Texas Tech recovers, so now they only need a score to win it. Look at it again, the ball clearly out while Robinson is off the ground, and the Red Raiders take advantage of it. Trey Wolf, a 20-yard chip shot field goal. Down go the Longhorns. They fall out of the AP rankings, and you see Texas Tech fans storming the field. What a scene in Lubbock as the Red Raiders win 37-34. Final game of this Big 12 slate features number 6 Oklahoma hosting Kansas State. And we're just going to pick this one up in the first quarter. Aiden Martinez, the former Nebraska Cornhusker. We're going to see a lot of him in these highlights. Takes it around the left end for a 10-yard touchdown. Oh, and then he's going to do it with his arm. Finds Malik Knowles on the slant. 6-yard touchdown. Kansas State quickly up 14-0. But Oklahoma not going away. Now down 14-7. Dylan Gabriel to Marvin Mims Jr. 50-yard touchdown, and this game is tied just like that, but later in the second quarter. Martinez, they just could not stop Martinez's legs. Lunges into the end zone for the 3-yard score. Martinez's second rushing touchdown of the day, his third total touchdown, and he would not be done yet because in the fourth, Martinez, read option. Sooners just couldn't stop the former Cornhusker. He tends to have really good games against Oklahoma, by the way. Now a 2-score game. And then Dylan Gabriel is going to somehow get this play off and finds Braden Willis, the tight end, for the 1-yard score. So Oklahoma needs a stop, and, well, they can't stop Aiden Martinez. Another rushing score. Oklahoma will add a late touchdown, but Kansas State wins 41-34 and have won 3 out of the last 4 meetings against the Sooners. OU drops 12 spots to 18 in the latest AP poll, and Kansas State makes its first appearance of the year, coming in at 25. All right, let's take one final break, but when we return, we're going to turn back the clock. What happened on this day in sports history, as well as a quick look into some national headlines. The Daily O will be right back.
I'm Kristen Hawkins. I went to Oklahoma State University here in Stillwater in '99 to 2004. I've always felt like Stillwater needed more family-friendly things to do, and we have opened up AR Workshop. We do everything from knitting blankets that can be done in a 3-hour class. We create doormats and porch signs, the Christmas wreaths with our yarn that we use for the blankets. We also do, we just started a new project for gnomes, and we've done pumpkins during the fall. But our big thing that we do here are interior signs. Our designs are extremely unique too in our workshop. Customers come in, everything is here for them to do. They create everything. They can be as hands-on as they want. They came in here to relax and have fun, and that they are proud of their project that they've made.
We use the very best of the best ingredients. Demerara sugar is the best there is. Very high quality fruits, berries. The milk we use is the best milk there is. That's why it makes our product stand by itself. I like to make yogurt because I like to eat yogurt. We've been doing this for ourselves for many years because it's a tradition in our family. And we want to have a product which would be very similar to French yogurt, but with our touch of uniqueness, linking our name, our product, with the reputation of the Made in Oklahoma Coalition was probably the best thing we have done as far as promoting our product.
Welcome back to this edition of the Daily O. I'm Grayson Singleton. Time to turn back the clock as we look at what happened on this day in sports history. Let's go with some 1980s baseball. In 1981, Houston Astros pitcher Nolan Ryan threw his 5th career no-hitter against the LA Dodgers. It was the first time in 6 years that the 34-year-old was able to pull off that feat, and the no-hitter placed Ryan in sole possession of first place in MLB history for the most no-hitters thrown. Nolan would go on to throw 2 more before he retired in 1993. 4 years later, another near impossible statistic to repeat in an MLB season. The Yankees outfielder Rickey Henderson recorded his 75th stolen base of the season against the Detroit Tigers. While this might sound quite impressive to you, that wasn't even the best season that Henderson would have on the base pass. Henderson would finish his career with 7 seasons of 80+ stolen bases and 3 seasons of 100 stolen bases or more throughout his legendary 24-year career. Henderson is still the lone player in MLB history to record over 1,000 career stolen bases. Now it's time to give a quick happy birthday shout out, and who better than one of the greatest women to not just grace a tennis court, but sports in general. Happy birthday, Serena Williams. Williams, who recently may have played her final match of her career, will be turning 41 today with quite a reputation. Williams has over 800 career tour victories, 73 singles titles, and 3 Olympic gold medals to cement her legacy throughout the tennis and sports world. All right, and before we let you go, it's time to take a final look into our national headlines of the day in the sports world. The new sponsor of the Super Bowl halftime show is stepping up in a huge way, announcing Rihanna as the 2023 headliner. Rihanna confirmed her participation with a tweet of a picture showing her hand holding an NFL football. The announcement came from the new partner for the halftime show, Apple Music, which took over sponsorship from Pepsi. The soft drink giant had been the NFL's previous partner for a decade. Sean Carter, or Jay-Z, of Rock Nation will serve as executive producer for the show. The music and fashion icon will perform at Super Bowl 57 in February of 2023. In not so exciting news, Brett Favre could be in legal trouble. According to new court filings, the Hall of Fame quarterback repeatedly pressed then Mississippi Governor Phil Bryant for money to build a volleyball facility at the University of Southern Mississippi. Favre's daughter played volleyball at the college at the time of the request. The filings say that the demands came even after Favre was told the misuse of state funds could be illegal. The issue emerged from an investigation into improperly sent public welfare funds within the state's Department of Human Services. Favre is currently not charged in the fraud scheme, but he has been named as a defendant in a civil suit related to this matter. Last week, Favre's attorney said his client did not know welfare funds were used for the facility. Favre played in the National Football League for 20 seasons, mostly with the Green Bay Packers. Actor and wrestling superstar John Cena just added another record to his belt. The 16-time WWE World Champion just set a Guinness World Record. Cena now holds the world record for the most wishes granted through the Make-A-Wish Foundation. Some very cool stuff. The foundation fulfills what are sometimes the final wishes of children under 18 who have been diagnosed with a serious illness. Cena has now granted wishes for 650 children. No other celebrity has granted more than 200 wishes in the 42-year history of Make-A-Wish. It may also help that Cena is the most requested celebrity for the nonprofit's Wish program. Okay, that will do it for our show tonight. Thank you so much for tuning in, and make sure to tune in tomorrow to the Daily O, as Emma Lightfoot will keep you updated on everything happening in the world of sports. For the Daily O, I'm Grayson Singleton. Have a good night, everybody.
Hi everybody, my name is Emily Shooping. I'm your marketing coordinator for the Made in Oklahoma Coalition. I'm coming to you with an amazing opportunity. We are teaming up with the Ocali Media Group at Oklahoma State University. We want to tell your story on the following platforms: streaming, newspaper, and digital. This opportunity will not only allow your story to be told locally, but nationally as well. I am so excited for each of you to join in on this tremendous opportunity. This will not only be good for your business, but it will be good for our great state of Oklahoma. You can be expecting an email from me soon with more details about this opportunity. Local has a name, local has a face, local has a flavor. The Made in Oklahoma Coalition.